So if you could talk a little bit more about that. One mentioned the in-laws would disrespect them and the spouse would say nothing. And then even how to get along with in-laws who don't like you, don't respect you, talk against you, and even with parents who maybe are trying to control how your marriage, how you raise your children. So parents and in-laws, can y'all speak on that more?
Okay, hi, good evening, everyone. So in-laws, interestingly, you can't really do marriage without them. Somehow, when you get married, they come along with the package. When I met my now in retrospect, of course, I don't think so. At the time, I felt it was just I didn't see I couldn't understand why she didn't like me, because she was meeting me for the first time. But along the line, it got worse, because I thought that, okay, she didn't like me because she didn't know me. We'll get to know each other and things will change. But even when I got into the marriage, but to be fair to her now, at the time I wasn't thinking like this. But now I've grown, I'm more mature, I'm older. Pastor K is the last born of 5 boys, so he's her baby, right? And for her, I think that felt like handing over, parenting completely to someone you don't know. I'm sure she had other choices for him. She felt maybe he would marry, because being a pastor, maybe he would marry someone who would maybe cover her hair, wear long skirts, and look like she doesn't know anything. And so here I came, just the opposite of everything she was hoping for. And then when we got married, because it's Jesus that is helping me, it's not like I'm really okay like that completely. So when I got married, I felt like, this I don't like you thing. You're stuck with me, you might as well adjust. But the woman was not adjusting. I would try to be polite, try to bend over backwards. She was acting up. Maybe we'll go send her money. And so I say, I don't need your money, hold your money. I'm like, I even need it. Why are you? Growing up, I was also asthmatic, so I wouldn't, anything to do with dust. So I went to visit her in the village. And anybody who knows anything about East in Nigeria, there's dust, there's red, and those are things I should avoid. So I got there that day and she was sweeping, and my mother trained me, whether I accepted it or not, but she trained me. I got up that morning and I was like, oh, Mama, let me help you. She was like, no, she doesn't want me to help. I didn't even argue. I just went inside, locked myself up and laid down. Like I can't keep myself, like there's nothing I can do. So while I was there, the Holy Spirit said something to me. He said, what are you doing? I said, I don't understand. He said, what exactly are you doing? This woman doesn't like you, and are you going to give up? I was like, you can also speak to her, because last I heard she was born again and she hears you. To you. And so what you're going to do for me is I need you to go and read the book of Ruth. So I went to read the book of Ruth. And for some funny reason, I had never, how you know about a book in the Bible, but you've never really studied it. You can tell everything about that book, but you've never really studied it. So I was shocked to find out that there are things like, your God will be my God, your people use for wedding vows. I was shocked that it was between a daughter-in-law and a mother-in-law. And not just a daughter-in-law and a mother-in-law, it was between a daughter-in-law and a difficult mother-in-law. The way we tell that story, we've not really read that story. If you read it, you will see that her children died, her husband died, and she was going back home bitter. In fact, when she got back home, she said, don't call me Ruth, call me Mara, because life has dealt bitterly with me. Imagine a constant reminder of your pain being with you. I don't think that she would have been very pleasant to be with. But Ruth still followed her, and Ruth said, your God will be my God. In other words, Ruth told to me, you're going to have to wear this woman down with love. Whatever is happening in your life, already there. God always puts what has happened before so you can see how to deal with it. And so I started working in love towards my mother-in-law. Now, I must say this. You will set boundaries but you must work in love. And so the boundaries were set. I started working love towards her. She would do something, I would look up. I started thinking of it as my mother, because it's a covenant. It's not. I stopped looking at her as my mother-in-law and started seeing her as my mother. There were things she was doing that was annoying me because I was seeing her as mother-in-law. My mother was doing the same thing. And I would just say, that's how my mother behaves. So I started adjusting, because love is patient. Love is kind. Love keeps no record of wrongs. And the time to be patient is when someone is testing your patience. And so I started working in love towards her, and things started easing up. Started showing her that your son is safe with me. And if you will let me, you are safe with me as well. So setting boundaries, also working in love towards her, and finally making sure that when there were difficult conversations to be had, her son had it with her. And if there are difficult conversations to be had as well with my own parents, I had it with them. It's easier for you to tell them what you don't like. So, because if it comes from him, it may be a problem. So your husband has to step up if he's not defending. Your wife has to step up if they're not defending you. So I think those three things may be a good place to start.
All right. Thank you.